What's up, you beautiful Redditors? Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. Welcome to the RNEWS morning show. And let's just jump into it. From r/uplifting news. Over 1 million people signed petition calling for KKK to be declared a terrorist group. No, there is no statute authorizing declaration of domestic terrorist groups. And for one simple reason. These declarations are done unilaterally by the government, specifically the executive branch, and always involves an opaque, political and extrajudicial process. So the question is this: do you want to give Donald Trump the ability to declare that Democrats are terrorists? Because that's what this would do. It's very possible to attack these groups as organized crime. And we've been doing that successfully for decades. Keep this stuff in the courts, not DJT's head. Edit. I feel I should clarify something. Trump said that Antifa is a terrorist group. This has no legal basis. When a president makes a declaration like this, they're actually declaring that the group has been classified according to some statutory authority. For example, the foreign terrorist groups I mentioned earlier were classified according to provisions of one of the AUMF's or Patriot Act, or a handful of other acts, an authority created by Congress and signed into law. There are qualifying requirements even for these laws. There is no such corresponding domestic statute that giving a president the ability to classify a domestic group as terrorist. Trump can say what he wants, but legally speaking it holds the same weight as Peter Griffin's declaration of sovereignty over Pretoria. Where do I sign? www.change.org. You're watching the RNews show. From r/politics. Fox News said Trump was ambushed in town hall where undecided American voters asked him basic questions. Asking Trump to show basic knowledge is an ambush in their minds. Basic knowledge is now the new elitism for the Trump cult. For decades Republicans have worn a know-nothing facade to appeal to ordinary Americans. But now they have truly created a know-nothing president. If the Republican Party exists in 2032, their slogan will be a series of grunts and maybe a fart. There was a time in this country long ago, when reading wasn't just for scros and neither was writing. People wrote books and movies with stories. So you cared whose butt it was and why it was farting. And I believe that time can come again. President not sure 2032. It was daft of them to let him out in front of an audience that wasn't his cult. They're still too worked up over a haircut. Amazing that Nancy Pelosi's hairdresser has better video surveillance than Jeffrey Epstein's cell does. How embarrassing this must be for the people trying to defend Trump. A 74-year-old self-proclaimed genius with supposedly such a high IQ that knows more than their generals can't handle questions from a few real Americans and whines about it. Can't wait for the debates. It's going to be all the biased moderators' fault, I'm sure. You're watching the RNews show. From r/politics. Biden. I trust vaccines, I trust scientists, but I don't trust Donald Trump. Last night Trump said a vaccine is 3 weeks. 4 weeks away. Today, the CDC director said most Americans won't receive a vaccine until summer or fall 2021. Yeah, I trust the scientists over the guy just trying to use a vaccine as a way to get votes. Trump also said last week that he wants the next round of stimulus checks to be bigger numbers. Because it all comes back to the USA. Quote, I can't recall, do the GOP believe government-provided financial assistance for middle and low-income citizens goes into the economy or not? Or only in election years? And in the meantime, tens of thousands more Americans will needlessly die to Trump's pathetic insecurity. Please measure the COVID death toll in 9/11 says. Americans love symbolism. Maybe some of his cult will register that unit of measurement. There are already over 50.2 kilo Benghazis. Crap, I'm ready to become a first world country again. Unfortunately, it will likely take a long time for other countries to regain trust in the USA after Trump. Even if the next president is awesome, it's dangerous for other countries to become too dependent on the USA as long as it's capable of electing another leader like Trump in the foreseeable future. You're watching the RNews show. From r/news. Maine wedding reception now linked to deaths of 7 people who didn't attend. Crap, I didn't go to that wedding. LMAO. The title makes it sound like someone was hunting down people who didn't attend. I'm only here because I can't understand the headline. Lol. Edit. And this has become my most upvoted comment on Reddit. LMAO. There was a wedding reception that had typhoid Mary of COVID in attendance. Safer practices were not in place. A lot of people contracted COVID, probably due to poor punch bowl etiquette. Those people returned home and started spreading COVID to friends and loved ones. The spread from this specific group of people was so well traced and prolific that we know for a fact that a minimum of 7 people that were not in attendance but contracted the disease from someone that was in attendance, or someone that had caught it from someone that attended, have died as a result. I have not read this specific article yet, but that is a basic explanation of the situation. Did this help? Edit. Missing. That did, in fact, help, because I was confused, because I'm not exactly the master of data extrapolation on my best day. There are 2 kinds of people in the world: those who can extrapolate from incomplete data. Typhoid Mary of COVID Karen. Karen is Sharon. Marky got with Karen got Cherise. She was sharing Karen's outlook on the topic of disease. They were all in love with dying. They were drinking from a fountain that was pouring like an avalanche of the Rona down the mountain. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/World News. Pakistan's Prime Minister calls for rapists to be hanged or castrated after mother gang raped. This title made me think the mother of the Prime Minister of Pakistan was gang raped. But it was just a woman who happened to be a mother. Obviously still awful, but the title is super misleading. Horrible headline. I thought that the rapists raped their own mother. I thought the punishment was hanging, castration and having your mother gang raped. Yeah, this headline sucks. Following the incident, Lahore Police Chief Umar Sheikh faced an angry backlash and calls for his resignation after suggesting the rape was partially the victim's fault. He said that the victim should have been better prepared for her journey by ensuring her fuel tank was full and traveling along a busier road to her destination. It was the victim's fault for being raped. This police chief is such a piece of human garbage. One positive is that he's received backlash. People all around realize that's a ridiculous statement. Right. Should she also have invented a time machine and Doctor Who'd her way into the lives of the families who raise these boys into horrible men to help them grow up better? Like, where do you stop when victim blaming? It's so stupid. Anything anyone does to you is always their fault. Choice. End of story. Well, this is a crap comment section. You trust the Pakistani justice system to fairly put people to trial and not perform it on innocence. Prison is good enough. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/Uplifting News. When twins Kamari and Kamera opened a lemonade stand, someone questioned if they had a permit to run it. So, they got one, and last week, they had an hour-long wait for lemonade. Not sure if this is uplifting so much as it is shocking that someone would ask 7-year-olds if they have a permit for a lemonade stand. There were so many stories similar to this in 2018 that Country Time opened a website to help kids get permitted. www.countrytimelegal.com. Edit. Links dead on this site now. As several others have said, the lemonade has been discontinued. Legal aid, that crap is gold. I used to do Kool-Aid stands as a kid all the time, and luckily only had positive experiences. One time a guy came up and gave us $20 because he just appreciated us being little entrepreneurs. We lived pretty close to a grocery store, so one summer my friends and I would take turns taking some of our profits and running to the store and buying generic brand sodas. We would sell the cups of Kool-Aid for 50 cents each or the sodas for $1 each. One day we made around $150 total, which was divided 4 ways. But as an 11 or 12-year-old kid it was huge. I'm sure that the stand itself was technically illegal, as well as reselling the Kool-Aid and sodas. But nobody ever tried to stop us. It's wild to me how common these stories are now, unfortunately. I would be shocked if the vast majority of entrepreneurs didn't start out running illegal businesses. And that's where we're going to end today's show. But if you like what you saw, leave a like, and if you want to see more of the RNEWS show, hit that subscribe button. As always, this has been the RNEWS show and I'll see you tomorrow.